Kakadosh Boker Or. I wanted to share with you an incredible idea that I saw in this week's parasha. It says in the parasha, remember we're talking about Tazria, Tahara, Tazria, Metzora, which is going to be talking about the Negaim. Remember the Negaim that goes on the body, on the clothing, and on the houses. It starts with the houses, and then afterwards the clothing, and then afterwards on the human body, as Rashi already brings down. And the parasha it says, Ki tavou el eretz Canaan, when you're going to come to the land of Canaan. Asher ani noten lachem la'chuzah, that I'm going to give you as an inheritance. Natati nega tzaraat, I'm going to place a nega tzaraat in the house that you're going to live. The Midrash Rabbah comes and it says, Tani Rabbi, he says, V'chi b'tzura hi lahem shenegiim b'alem. What? It's something good. So the Shimon Bar Yochai comes and he says, once Bnei Yisrael came and they heard what's coming, what happened was that the Canaanim, right? What they did is that the Canaanim hid all types of treasures inside of the houses and inside of the fields. So says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I went and I told them that they're going to come with all the good. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu does? He puts Negaim in the house and they have to take it down. And then when they take it down, they come and they find the treasure. What does that mean? Tzaraat Bayit Lemaaseh was something good. And it was a chesed gadol for Yisrael in order that they should get riches. So the Aruch HaShulchan comes and he says, I don't understand. He says, En la'kadosh baruch hu drachim acherot, how to give presents. Meaning, imagine right now I'm going to give you a present. You know what the present is? Yeah, I'm going to come. I'm going to smash up your car. And all of a sudden, when you come and you take it to get fixed in the garage, what happens is they come and they say, Mauricio, look what we found. This is all your gold. There's no other way to get a present? What's going on? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But listen to this. There's a beautiful Divrei Yisrael that he comes and he says, there's a Midrash. The Midrash says, V'natati Nega Tzaraat, Hada udiktiv, that's what it means, Achtov li Yisrael. It's good for Yisrael. So he says, what does that have to do? What does Nega Tzaraat have to do with the Tov li Yisrael? And he says something incredible. The Torah Kedosha wants to teach us the emunah of what it is to have the Yisodot HaEmunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is for the good. And just like the purpose of the Tzaraat in the house, the Nega, was in order to come and to find what's hidden inside the house, all the treasures, so too the purpose of anything negative in this world is to bring something good out. It's to bring something good out. And therefore he says, Midat Adin V'Gvura is to bring Tov V'Chesed. Just like it says, V'yiten Lecha Elokim. What do you mean, V'yiten Lecha Elokim? V'yiten Lecha Elokim, V'yiten Lecha Elokim, Ital HaShamayim. What's going on? V'yiten Lecha is he wants to give you something. Ha'Elokim is Midat Adin, is justice. If I want to give you something, I want to give it with Rachamim, with mercy. V'yiten Lecha Hashem. Why is it V'yiten Lecha Elokim? So he comes and he says, because why? So he says a Yesod Gadol. He says an incredible message. Listen to this. We have a question. If so, why is it called a Nega? It shouldn't be a Nega. It should be an Oneg. And something good is coming out. So he comes and he says like this. To our eyes, when we're going to come and we're going to destroy the house, it looks like a Nega. It looks like an affliction. It looks like something bad. It doesn't look good. That's why it's called Nega Tzaraat. He says, but be'emet, if you're ma'amin be'emunah shlema, that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is for the good, all of a sudden you found an otzar. And therefore the Nega changed to an Oneg. Do you know the Nega and Oneg are the same letters? Ein, Nun, Gimel. Just depends on the way that you put the letters together. If you put Ein first, it becomes Oneg. If you put the Ein on the end, it becomes Nega. The same Ein. Everything depends upon the eye, how you look at things. Everything's in the eye of the beholder. If you look at it, you have the power to change the Nega to an Oneg. Depends where your eyes are. Are you putting your eyes that you know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing for the best? It used to change and used to become an Oneg. But if somebody was coming and he was upset, so then all of a sudden what happened is that he didn't find it. Only if he had belief that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was doing something good, he found the treasure. If he didn't believe that Hashem was doing something good and he was upset that he's destroying his house, So then it became an Oneg. Then it became a Nega. It actually was a Nega. But if he believed that it comes from Hashem, it became an Oneg. It became something incredible. Oneg is like to delight in, to enjoyment, to benefit from something. So that's what Rashi says. Nega nira li babayit. That even a Talmid Chacham that he knows that it's for sure a Nega, he never says, I have a Nega in the house. It's Nega. Why is it Nega? He says, because even though a Talmid Chacham usually doesn't see anything good for himself, and he always looks at himself as if that he's always full of sins, right? Still, at the end of the day, the pasuk is going to come and is going to tell us that even somebody that knows, right? He knows 100% for a fact, he shouldn't say nega. It's a nega. It's like it. You know why? Everything's for the good. So it could be that it looks bad. It looks like an affliction. It looks like tzaraat. No, nega. And that's what the Ben Yehuda brings down. The Ben Yehuda is the Ben Ishchai. He comes and he brings down on Masechet Brachot when we're talking about the story of Rabbi Akiva that they're peeling your skin. And he says over there, Kulma David Rachmana Letav, the kavanah is that a person that comes and opens up his mouth for the good, even if they're going to have a gezerah for bad, you could annul the gezerah. And therefore he comes and he says, Mashatem roim ata, what you guys see now, that everything is going to be letovah, everything is going to be for the good, because once we said everything that's going to happen is good, all of a sudden it becomes good. It's mitapech hadavar letovav libracha. So he wanted to teach us that that's why a person should always come and say it, that even if it looks bad, you always say that it's good. And by saying it's good, you're turning it into something good. And that's why David HaMelech comes and he says, Odecha ki anitani, vatili lo yeshua. The Bet Levi comes and he says, Anitani is milashon inui, to afflict. David HaMelech is coming and he's saying to Hashem, thank you for giving me afflictions. Thank you for giving me suffering. Why? Because he knows that the inui is actually the beginning of the Yeshua. So it's not an inui at all. It's not an affliction. Odecha ki anitani v'teili Yeshua. That in itself was my Yeshua. The inui, right, is the Yeshua. And the Rav Chida brings down that that's a pasuk. Yisurin malkim avonotav shel adam. And they say that the Tzaraat itself has the Yeshua. And that's why it says, Et tzarei li'akov umimena yivashea. Umimena is the Tzaraat itself is going to save you. Meaning it's not that something else is going to be saving you. The Yeshua itself is the meaning that suffering itself is what's going to come and what's going to save you. Do you know the Torah Kedusha wanted to teach us a Yesod Gadol in Avodat Hashem? The Navi comes and it says to do with the building of the Bet HaMikdash Rishon, but Tashlem kol ha-melacha. They finished the entire melacha. And Chazal say, Melamed shekol ha'umanim shayu bonim bo lo met echad mehem velo chala echad mehem velo nishbar magrofit velo kardom lo chash benav velo nifsak kli melacha velo nishbar echad mehem. Something incredible. All the people that were constructing the Bet HaMikdash, nothing broke. Nobody got sick. Nobody died. Nobody had a broken hammer, a broken nothing. Something incredible. Look at this miracle. So the Yalkut comes and it says, there's Yalkut Shimoni. Shin titma davar, you're going to ask, how could it be? He said, you're going to tell me that nobody got sick? Nobody broke a hammer? Right? Well, what's going on over there? Yeah, so he says, the Raya is all the Mitzrayim, that everyone came up from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael to bring up, to bury Yaakov Avinu. He says, Lo nifsak izur shelecha mehem, ve'al binyan bet hamidash ata tamea shenasa ken. He comes and he says, 1 second, do you know that when Yaakov Avinu passed away, they went and they accompanied him to his final burial place in Eretz Yisrael. So they went and they took to Marat HaMachpelah, they took Yaakov Avinu. It says there when he went, nobody broke anything. Everything was perfect. So what's the problem then? So we learn from here that when a person comes and he does a mitzvah, he will never lose out. When you go to do a mitzvah, it doesn't exist to lose out. So he says, why? But a lot of times you think to yourself, why isn't he doing some mitzvah? Why doesn't he do something? So the answer is because if he's going to do that, he's going to get damaged, he's going to get hurt, he's going to do this, or he's going to do that. And really, Be'emet, what we're trying to say to ourselves is that it doesn't exist. From a mitzvah, you will never lose. It doesn't exist losing out from doing a mitzvah. So a Nes Galui was during the time of the Bet HaMikdash, because the 10 nisim was that a woman, she never miscarried, even though with all the meat and everything. Now, to understand what that means, it says, Ubara shericha machlinota, ad shetashiv nafsha. The Mishnah Yoma says that if right now a pregnant woman smells something, we're going to give her to eat it, even on Kippur. In order for, why? She has a craving. It's dangerous. You have to give it to eat right away. Rashi there says, Ubar meriach reachat tavshil, and he wants it. And if she doesn't eat it, they both get into sakana. The pregnant woman and the child. Right? Nowadays, there's the myth that they get like birthmarks. Right? And that's why they come and they say, if she already has some type of a craving, touch a part of the body that's already covered. So that way, if they get a birthmark, it's in a covered place. It's not something, on the outside. But he says over here, well, 1 second, what's going on exactly? So he says like this. He says, the biggest miracle is that she didn't want the basar of the, imagine, you're going into a place and you smell the barbecue. It's an incredible smell. The woman, she's pregnant, she's coming in, and no matter how many types of meats and everything, she never wanted it. And she never had a pala, she never had a miscarriage. So he says, Pikuach nefesh is duche the entire Torah. So the Mishnah says there was a miracle that a woman never had a miscarriage and she wasn't given to eat from the meat of the Bet HaMikdash. So we have to understand, why was this miracle done? If a woman has a craving, she's allowed to eat it. So what's the problem? And we could also ask, why didn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu do it in a different way? That a woman that she was pregnant would never smell it. Why did it have to say that she had to smell it, she had to have the craving, and only after having the craving, there was a miracle that she didn't have any miscarriage? Why did he have to do it like that? So an incredible answer was brought down by Rabbi Chaim Volozhin. Rabbi Chaim Volozhin comes and he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give a musar askel to Klal Yisrael, that from Kiyuma Torah, it's never going to be bad for the briut of the human being. Because from a mitzvah, nothing bad will ever happen. This woman came to the Bet HaMikdash. The korbanot is supposed to be a reach nichuach for Hashem, a good, pleasant fragrance for Hashem. It cannot be that from such a kavanah, something bad will come out. So the maskana from this miracle is that anything to do with Kiddusha, all the days of the year, when it's a Devar Kiddusha, nothing negative will ever come out. Because something that comes from a kavanah tehora, it comes from a mitzvah, shluchei mitzvah and nizukim. And we know the Ramban, Nachmanides comes and he says, what is the inyan when we say that Lot was saved from Sodom? It wasn't because of his own zechut, right? Because there was other people like him. But it was because he came to Sodom, came through Avraham Avinu, from Ur Kasdim. And even though it was not Lishma, because he thought that, listen, Avraham Avinu was not going to have children. And therefore, I'm going to inherit my uncle. I've got the rich uncle. Yeah? So he says, right, nevertheless, it was still chesed with Avraham Avinu. So therefore, nothing bad could come out from the chesed of Avraham Avinu. And therefore, he says, it was only because of that zechut that he actually went with Avraham Avinu after Ur Kasdim. Now, sometimes it comes out that people think, yeah, but I did lose out from a certain mitzvah. I did a mitzvah, and I lost. The truth is, he would have lost it anyway. It wouldn't have made a difference. HaKadosh Baruch Hu purposely made it coming through a mitzvah in order that he gets a reward through it. But even without the mitzvah, he would have actually come and lost it. So only a person that has a emunah shlema in Hashem, he's going to be taken away from this. But if not, then not. So according to this, now we understand why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring all these tzarot, all these treasures to Klal Yisrael to destroy their houses. Because he wanted to teach Bnei Yisrael that when you do a mitzvah, you never lose. So now you're coming and you're destroying a house, right? Now, you know what it is? That a person built a house and all of a sudden now, or even if he renovated the house and now he comes, he has to destroy it. You know what that is? And he's doing it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But again, we know the Arizal HaKadosh comes and he says that when a person has negaim and they go to the tzaddik, mamtiku et adinim b'shorsham, right? He comes and he sweetens it. How? He's ofech the teva nega le oneg. And the teva tzara to teva ratza. Tzara is a suffering. Ratza is he wants you. He wants it. So the Rabbeinu ben Ish Chai comes and he says, when the Torah says, v'ineh lo afach ha-nega et eno, the ot ayin nefechet, it changes to the beginning of the word, before the ot nun. The Sfarim HaKadoshim say that's what the Arizal HaKadosh says, azamer bishvachin, b'shivin iturin dal gabe chamshin. Sha'ot ayin is going to be at the beginning, on top of the ot chamshin, on top of the 50 of the nun. So therefore, you're taking the ayin at the end of the word, and you're going to put it before the nun, before the 50. Nun is 50 in numerical value in Hebrew. So Tzaraat is teaching us what it is, Yisurin. Tzaraat is teaching us that when you're going to come and you're going to be Mekayem, the Ritzon of Hashem, you're fulfilling the will of God, and you're going to say, you know what can I do? This is a house, kapara, he has to do everything. That is like a korban in itself. And the Tmura is going to be that now you're going to have a beautiful house, a new house, and it's going to become an Oneg. And everything that you thought that you lost, all of a sudden becomes for Simcha. And that's why it says, Ve'et Sarah Yaakov mena yivashea. It's a time of suffering for Yaakov. And from it, we're going to be saved. Just like Chazal come and they say that somebody that his regel parato broke. So when he went and he wanted to pick it up, he found the treasure underneath the para. So for even though right now his para, which that's what's giving his parnasah, it broke. Now he comes and he thanks HaKadosh Baruch Hu for it. So how is the proper way then to come and to fulfill the Torah mitzvot and not to be afraid of the money that you're going to lose? So Rav Gedalia Eisman comes and he wanted to say the following. When a person is in front of a strong test, they've got an incredible test in front of them, and he has to mamash bring to do a mitzvah or not to do an averah. The best way is la'amod beoto nisayon is he comes and he says like this, is la'ashlim im mafseh v'nisayon lechizuk atzmi ela afnamat ha'emet ha'gdola ki lema'aseh en kol hakrava. Meaning like this, you have to do a mitzvah, but you know it's going to cost you, and it's going to cost you a lot. Or you don't want to do an averah, and you know it's going to cost you, and it's going to hurt. You have two ways of doing it. Either you come and you just say, okay, fine, whatever, kapara, as they say, and you just accept it. Or you come and you say to yourself that I have emunan shlema, I didn't lose anything. I'm not going to lose anything. And he says, why? Because since from a mitzvah, you never lose, so therefore this person doesn't have to come and start telling himself, you know what? I had to sacrifice to do a mitzvah. There's no sacrifice. There's nothing here. It's just you have to be convinced that whatever was going to come and be a loss is like an optical illusion. It's like a magic show. It's a magic trick. So he says it only comes because we don't see clearly in this world. It's an optical illusion. So one of the famous cases from the Baalei Musar is from Yitro. Imagine right now Yitro, he comes and he's actually going to be that there's no such thing as a korban without a tumura. There's no such thing as a sacrifice without a substitute. So we come and we see that when he comes, Moshe Rabbeinu comes to Midian, he comes and he saves the daughters of Yitro. And then it says, he saves them all. Yitro was a Kohen Midian, he was very, very respected. Right? And what happened? All of a sudden, these Roetzon, they come and they want to trap them. They want to kill the daughters. So he actually saved them. According to one shita, they threw them into the well. And Moshe Rabbeinu brought them out of the well. That's why he says he brought them up, right? So he comes and he says, they put him in Nidui because he went against the Avodah Zarah. Now listen, that's a hefty price. Imagine right now you're going to come and you're going to say, you know what? I'm in Nidui, right? What does that mean? He's now going to be excommunicated. And not only that, they wanted to go against his family, his daughters. What's going on over here? It's a very big korban. But Vayakol Moshe Vayoshian, Moshe Rabbeinu came and he saved them. And at the end, Yitro was zocheh that Moshe Rabbeinu became his son-in-law. Because the Mekora Emet is, if you look deep inside, right, that was for everything that he suffered. Ke'ilu that he suffered, but it was only something good that came out of it. And therefore he comes and he says, Bedidia va'uvda. With me, it happened a few years ago when the Kolel was very, very difficult. It was having a difficult time. And I spoke with a certain Jew, and he told me he was going to give me a lot of money, right? And he told me to come at 6:30 in the nighttime. So I said, okay, fine. Listen, I'm in Kolel, I'm in Arvit, I can't come at that time. Because I didn't want to, miss the tefillah. So he came and he told me that he's going to leave the check with one of the workers. So when I came, he wasn't there anymore. The next day I call up, right? When can I come? We went. When I came, he gave me double than what he gave me the day before. So he came and he said, you see from here, you never lose from doing a mitzvah. He thought ki'ilu that he was going to lose out, that if he doesn't come right now, so what do you have in place? You have Arvit, right? Or you have getting a huge check in order to help out for the kolel. He went and he said, I'm not going to come now. I'll come later on. He went later on. There was nobody there. That's it. He lost it. So the next day he comes, he calls up, and all of a sudden he got double the check. So he comes and he says, you see from here that you thought that Kilu, maybe I lost out. Maybe I lost opportunity forever. You never know. Imagine what he's thinking that night. Maybe that's it. But really, be'emet, you never lose out from doing a mitzvah. You will always only gain. But it all depends how you take it. When you take it with it, that you're doing a mitzvah 100%, there's no such thing as losing. You will only gain in the final result. I'm sure